Sorry if I sound kinda off, I recently got sick and yeah, I'm starting to barely recover. But anyways, here's the timestamp so you can watch this video a bit quicker and for convenience. Sorry for the slow uploads, but I've been working on a few new things and tweaking the format on how I do videos from now on. Anyways, enjoy my top 10 movies of 2017. What a weird, offbeat, but funny and entertaining journey of one depressed, anxiety-ridden woman and her next-door neighbor's journey to find her stolen stuff. Starring Melanie Linsky as Ruth Kimke, and Mr. Frodo Baggins himself, Elijah Wood, as the heavy metal-loving, socially awkward, but stupidly brave kung fu enthusiast Tony. The duo search for Ruth's stolen goods, which include her antidepressant and anti-anxiety meds, her grandmother's silverware, and her laptop. She goes to the police, who seem to do nothing to help, even when she uses an app that locates her laptop's location, which is close by her house. So she enlists Tony to help her go and confront the thief. From there, the comedy and action ramp up so fast. One of my favorite scenes in the entire movie is, well, just see this shit. Also, the villains in this movie are just so easy to hate. Seriously, it's been a while since I genuinely wish the villains would get fucked in so many ways possible, just because of their attitudes and personalities. But this movie succeeds in that. Fuck these three. If you've never seen a movie where Elijah Wood sidekicks an old man to unconsciousness, then you have to see this movie. Sucks it's on Netflix, but if you can, get it and watch this funny and weirdly heartwarming tale of two weirdos and a crazy adventure to get back her stolen shit. Good film. I'm kinda torn on this one. This movie is way better than the first one, The Force Awakens, for me, and Rey and Luke are pretty okay in this, but the kind of forced humor, different characters, and those Porg things that only show up for a few scenes are, well, anyways. The Last Jedi has had mixed reviews from fans, to say the least. Some actually petitioning to remove it from the Star Wars canon, which is kinda crazy, but I guess I could expect this from the hardcore Star Wars fans. It's not that bad, sure, there are scenes of comedy where it didn't really feel natural and honestly felt like I was watching a YouTube parody of Star Wars. I couldn't tell you how less of a shit I give about that Asian chick that likes Finn. And don't get me started on that Snoke shit, because fuck. But all in all, this movie got the job done for me. The story follows Rey's training with Luke for the majority of the movie, as well as Kylo Ren's dealings, Finn and Poe's roles in the resistance fighting going on in space and on the ground, and, you know, Star Wars shit. The main draw to this movie for people even a bit into the Star Wars movie or the lore about to be put into the Star Wars canon is the back and forth with Rey and Luke Skywalker. Seeing Luke's past through memories from when he was training the Padawans in the way of the Force, including Kylo, was interesting, as well as him showing us the old temple and Rey's backstory as well. For those who saw the movie, you know what I'm talking about. The dynamic between Rey and Luke feels pretty good, actually. Luke is now the raggedy old man who seems to distrust or be reluctant to help this new Padawan trust on him, like how Yoda first was when he met him in the swamp. Rey, this starry-eyed, freshly minted Jedi whose power seems to grow after every little training exercise and lesson. And the backstory leading up to the destruction of Luke's trust in training new apprentices and teachings is nice to watch as well. Finn and Poe's role in this one is, okay, it's kind of more about the Resistance attempt to destroy the First Order like in the first movie, but look, there's a scene in there that I couldn't help but laugh at when it happened. So I just had a flashback to it, and Jesus fucking Christ. Anyways, this movie is alright, I guess. It was Star Wars. There was training going on, some more of the backstory on Luke's self-imposed exile, and his story with Kylo. The action is what it is. Nothing really that exciting, but nothing really boring either. And yeah, I mean, it's a serviceable Star Wars popcorn flick. What more could you want? Seriously, when will these people know not to fuck with the Baba Yaga? John Wick 2 is a fast-paced, balls-to-the-wall, adrenaline-soaked sequel to the already awesome and intense first movie. But really, when will they stop fucking with John Wick? They steal his fucking car, kill his dog in the first movie, and that's enough for him to go on a rampage to get revenge and murder everyone that's in his way. So why on God's green earth would you take it a step further and destroy his admittedly cool-looking ass house, when he did all that shit in the first movie for his car and dog? You expect him to stay put and allow you to do what you want? Hell nah, man. The movie's action is some of the most sick and ridiculous action sequences I've seen in a while. The scene with Common and Keanu trading suppressed shots in a crowded subway being the highlight for how ridiculously awesome the action can get. Keanu Reeves has always been the go-to guy for action movies, I think, in this past generation. He looks kick-ass in suits, gunplay always seems to be in whatever movie he's in, except for Bill and Ted's Awesome Adventure, I guess. And he always looks so fucking serious, even when the moment doesn't call for it.
I know Kung Fu.
But yeah, really, this movie is just a fun, action-filled ride that totally surpasses the first one, and blows any other action movie out of the water this past year. At least for me. Great flick. This one was just anxiety-driving horror at its finest. Get Out is a movie that if you see with your girl and she just happens to be white, I bet you're gonna be looking at her some type of way like, nah, you better not take me to your parents' house anymore. Jordan Peele's directorial debut, Get Out, is masterfully crafted and well done in what I like to call the fuck that horror genre. You know, the ones where you watch and think, if I was in that situation, I would have said fuck that and got the hell out of there immediately. What makes this one stand out amongst all the other horror movies that's come out in the past, 7-8 years for me at least, is that it doesn't try too hard to be scary. It isn't even that scary, to be honest. What makes it scary and suspenseful is it's mostly set in a real life scenario, with some kind of supernatural occurrences that happen later on. How many times have you gone on a date with someone who later on down the line you visit their house and find out that they're maybe just, meeting the dad and he starts to get a little friendly, I don't know, and he tries to talk to you like one of your homeboys or something? What up, dog, or yo, using those things, or feeling that the mom might be just a little bit scared or maybe apprehensive to start a conversation with you based on how you look, or maybe because you got tattoos or something. Stuff like that makes Get Out a fucking amazing horror movie. It plays on your cringe in such a way I have yet to see in another horror movie for a long time. Trust me, as soon as they get to the parents' house, it goes from 0 to 100 fast as shit. The main character, Chris Washington, played by Daniel Kaluuya, is likable and relatable as all hell. You can sympathize and feel for this dude. I mean, he was just gonna go meet her parents, but then the actress who played Rose Armitage, Allison Williams, is hot as fuck, but Jesus, just reinforces the stereotype of crazy-ass white girl. Seriously, just, man. And the actors and actresses who play the family and the help around the house, Jesus, man, just go watch this movie, put it on for Halloween this year, the next, shit, put it on when your cousin's going on a date. Man, just watch this movie, put it on for Halloween this year, the next year, shit, put it on when your cousin's about to go on a date, scare the shit out of him or her. But nah, this movie's great. One of the best horror movies I've seen, and one of the best that's come out in a long time. I reviewed this movie on our last Quickies video, so I really don't have that much to say that I haven't already said on that video. The movie's atmosphere, acting, music, and feeling are all Noir-inspired, moody, and just Blade Runner'd out. The acting by Ryan Gosling as Kay, Ana de Armas as Joy, and the returning Harrison Ford as Deckard is top-notch. And the supporting cast of Robin Wright, Jared Leto, Mackenzie Davis, and others is nice and welcome as well. The action, while few and far between, was pretty nice. Just like how the first movie was, the action never really felt like the main focus. But when it was serviceable and moved the plot along nicely. The main thing about the movie that really clicked with me though was the dialogue, just like the first movie. It's the bulk of the movie, but its focusing of the characters and plot is great, never feeling overdone or hammy, even though it's the majority of the movie. Good film. Like I said, not head over heels about it like others, but I liked it for what it was, and kinda saddened that not many people saw it.
Round 3, fight! You win.
Yup, and I don't give a shit if you think this movie is too high on the list. It's a movie that I enjoyed thoroughly. It felt like I was catching up with old friends when I first watched it. Loving the first Trainspotting, and now being able to see what Renton, Sick Boy, and Spud are doing in their early to mid 40s in this sequel, it made me love the characters all over again. Continuing the saga of these sarcastic, narcissistic, and supreme surprisingly relatable characters. After leaving his friends high and dry in the last movie with the exception of Spud, Mark Renton returns to Edinburgh after his life in Amsterdam has taken a turn for the worse. Despite being clean for about 20 years, his body has finally started to feel the effects of his drug-abusive younger self, as he has a heart attack while working out one day. He also loses his job and his marriage, so he thinks that moving back to Edinburgh will be the best move. We also see that Franco is locked up after he gets caught for the drug deal back in '96. Spud is still abusing heroin after getting his share of the money Renton left him, as well as using it to cope with his loss of his wife and visitation with his child Fergus. And Sick Boy does cocaine and runs a blackmailing scam with his Bulgarian girlfriend Veronica. Jesus, what a welcome back. The story this time around is one that, throughout the whole movie, I felt invested in. Being a huge fan of the original, seeing my boys Renton, Spud, and Sick Boy be reunited was something of an emotional and kinda sad experience for me. On the one hand, it was awesome to see the boys get back together, after all the... But then I started to get sad knowing that they all lived different but still depressing lives after the botched drug deal. Renton had moved on with most of the dough, hoping to make a better life for himself, yet later on down the line, his life goes to shit. And the only place he could turn to was going back to the life and place he thought he left behind. Spud is still in a downward spiral of drug abuse and hopelessness after his wife and child sever their ties with him. And Sick Boy running a failing pub, all the while doing blackmail schemes with his new girlfriend, and not even being able to see his own kid, was something only these characters could have made me feel. The added random montages and self-referential scenes from the first movie didn't help either, with the scene of Spud leaving the boxing gym that's located on the same road he and Renton ran in the opening scenes from the first movie being a very effective emotional high point for me. Seeing the younger, more youthful and wild Spud running past a tired, older and weaker Spud was a pretty powerful thing to see in my first viewing. And having the scene being scored by the slowed down version of Born Slippy was just that much more powerful. That one song is played sporadically throughout the whole movie during scenes involving Spud, and it works every single time. The big thing about this movie that kinda threw me off at first but was still awesome to watch the first time was that this sequel felt very much like Spud's movie this time around. We see Spud go from trying to kill himself near the beginning of the movie due to his continuing drug abuse and loss of seeing his wife and kid, to gradually kicking the junk by writing about his stories from the first movie and more. All the while a bag of heroin sits in the middle of the room he's writing in. It's some pretty powerful stuff, as well as nice to see that he's actually battling his demons and winning. Spud was my second favorite character from the first movie, so to see him get a sort of redemption by going clean, writing about his life, and trying to set up Sick Boy's brothel, something I felt really made the movie that much more better. So all in all, this movie is great. The characters returning to the old stomping grounds and reminiscing was great. Seeing what everybody's been up to was nice. The plot that I'm also neglecting to mention, just in case people haven't seen it, is funny as well as nice to see. The Spud redemption is awesome and emotion-filled as well. Add in the awesome music that still makes it feel distinctly Trainspotting-esque, but now in the new age, and you got a recipe for a sick sequel that, while nowhere near as great as the first movie, still feels really good, and it just feels like a return home for all these flawed but lovable characters. Music makes the world go round, a saying you've probably heard, but in Baby's case, actually makes his world much more enjoyable and tolerable. Baby Driver is many things: a heist flick, a love story, a comedy, a movie with kick-ass tunes, and the last movie I think I'll see Kevin Spacey in for a while. It's also written and directed by one of my all-time favorite directors, Edgar Wright. The plot is pretty simple. A getaway driver named Baby possesses an almost godly display of driving tricks and know-how to get away from almost any heist undetected and uncatchable. He decides to do one more job to finish off his debt to his boss, to begin living life again. When stuff goes in another direction and his girl's life might be in danger, he suits up for another mission, all the while dealing with some pretty interesting characters, plot twists, and danger lurking around every corner. What I like about Baby Driver is the character of Baby himself. He's cool, calm, collected, and listens to his iPod filled with his favorite getaway tracks that he plays whenever certain stuff happens on a mission. Need to get away as fast as possible? He has a track for that. Want to make a withdrawal? He's got a track to jam to while you're doing your thing. Falling in love? He's got some Barry White somewhere in there. His music and attitude drive this movie forward really nicely. Also, the reason why he listens to the music is pretty cool to learn about as well. He also lives with his mute foster father named Joseph, who he communicates with using sign language, which I thought was really neat. Never before had I seen a character with a father figure who was deaf, and him using sign language without subtitles made it that much more challenging to see what the heck they're actually communicating about. A big plus. Also, the supporting cast is great. John Hamm playing this smooth-talking, experienced triggerman with his equally experienced sex kitten-esque girlfriend Darling, played by Liza Gonzalez, Flea for some reason, and Jamie Foxx as the crazy, impulsive Bats. Another great Edgar Wright movie, filled with all the action and music you can handle from one of my all-time favorite directors. Take the love story that was kinda there in Creature from the Black Lagoon, up into about 101%, add in some amazing acting and visual designs, and you get The Shape of Water. I wanted to see this movie ever since it got first announced that Guillermo del Toro was going to direct a new movie. I love his movies. They always have everything I want from him. Action, check. Scenes involving character development and beautiful shots, double check. And of course, amazing practical monster effects that never cease to make me immensely invested in the scene they're in. The story follows a young mute woman named Eliza Esposito, a cleaner that works at a secret facility, lives with her closeted friend Giles, played by Richard Hawkins, and her everyday boring life of work and loneliness. Until one day a mysterious secret government asset is brought to the facility under the supervision of Colonel Richard Strickland, played by the always great Michael Shannon. What starts off as a strong curiosity soon turns into a big discovery and connection that you just have to see. Something about a creature that is shunned by both society and the government finding someone that actually makes them feel at ease or comfortable is something that always makes me happy. Sally Hawkins, who plays Eliza Esposito, is just magical. Every scene she's in, she steals it, and that's some hard work to do when your character is a mute. Using sign and body language as a means to communicate not to just the creature, but to us, the viewers as well, she gracefully acts each scene out with this childlike, curious nature that I fell in love with instantly. Her and Ivana Baquero from Pan's Labyrinth are some of my all-time favorite Del Toro characters because of how well he's able to make them feel not just authentic as characters, but as real as any of us. I could imagine a girl like Ophelia walking around a forest, being lost in its majesty or beauty, or a woman like Eliza being by herself reading a book on a bench, having this quiet but warm and inviting aura about her. Not being able to speak, but speaking volumes through her actions and facial expressions. Not gonna lie, I actually kinda have a bit of a crush on Sally Hawkins now after this. She's just that good. Her sweet smile, her humanity, is just what I love in Del Toro's characters, and she has it in spades. Richard Hawkins as her closeted friend Giles is fantastic as well. Likeable, funny, and a man who, just like Sally, wants someone. His scenes with Eliza are some of my favorite in the entire movie, with the first scene showing their friendship being great and charming. Man, Michael Shannon can always play one mean-ass son of a bitch. When you first meet his character, Colonel Richard Strickland, you're already familiar with him enough to know that he's not someone you'd like to hang around with. He's arrogant, cocky, and just a fucking prick to the people around him. He's got that 1960s holier-than-thou superiority complex down pat with this character. All I'm going to say is, I loved that scene after the initial meeting that happens with him. It's just great. Guillermo del Toro always makes me love the creatures he's able to film and direct. From Hellboy and Ape Sapien to the Pale Man and the Fawn, and now to the creature in this movie. Always gets some wonderfully shot and created monsters from his imagination, and they never fail to make me intrigued and enjoy them. And as always, he tapped his main actor Doug Jones to make the creature come to life, like he did previously with Ape Sapien and the Fawn. The music choices are perfectly picked, with the main theme of the movie being the song You'll Never Know, which perfectly captures the mood and feelings between the main character and the creature. If you haven't seen this movie yet, I highly recommend it. It's a really good movie. Great chemistry between the characters and the actors. Great set pieces. Amazing creature designs. And just a good movie, man. I've only recently watched this movie, which is why this list took a long time to make, because I heard so many good things about this movie and put off seeing it for a long time. And I fucking hate myself for putting it off for so long. This was my first time seeing a full movie with Frances McDormand in it. Yup, I haven't seen Fargo, Raising Arizona, or any of her other movies. I mean, I've seen clips of Fargo scenes on YouTube, but nothing that would really spoil me on the plot. So, yeah, this is my first full-length movie where Frances McDormand plays the main lead and isn't directed by the Coen brothers. Anyways, back to Three Billboards. Honestly, with the title of Three Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri, I kinda thought this was gonna be a comedy or a love story type deal going in, but man, was I fucking wronger than I've ever been. Bleak, depressing, funny, and chock full of amazing actors. The film stars Frances McDormand as Mildred Hayes, a no-nonsense, badass mother on a mission to find her daughter's rapist and murderer, after she sees the inept police force not doing a goddamn thing about it. She rents 3 billboards that are seemingly out in the middle of a long stretch of road that have been up there since the 80s, and plasters the words "raped while dying," "still no arrests," and a jab at the chief of police, William Willoughby, played by the always great Woody Harrelson. Soon the whole town goes after her about the billboards, and her apparent lack of apathy towards the cancer-stricken chief and the billboard's messages in general. People start chastising her, saying she's attacking the chief, threatening her, or just straight up lying in her face. Throughout the whole middle part of the movie, I was pissed at how these backwards-ass hicks treated this situation. It's fucking 3 billboards that haven't been used since the 80s, and now that it has a message that's bringing up an unsolved case that should have probably been solved by now by the mother of the victim, suddenly everyone and their mother is going at her throat because of 3 billboards? Fuck out of here. And man, what a hell of a performance from Sam Rockwell, playing the racist, drunk bastard Jason Dixon, whose character is one that you really need to watch. I couldn't believe what they did with this character. They made me hate the ever-loving shit out of him, then did a total 180 with him, and I loved him. What the hell, that never usually happens to me when watching a movie where a character is this unlikable in the beginning, but bravo to the director and writers in bringing out this character's flaws and quirks in such a way that just works in the end. Caleb Landry Jones is awesome as the billboard rental owner, helping Mildred out in the beginning and taking some big hits later on. John Hawkes as the asshole abusive ex-husband to Mildred Hayes, Charlie Hayes, was a perfect fit. You see him and it fills you with so much hate and contempt for his character, it's awesome. But the main show stealers are Frances McDormand and Sam Rockwell. Man, these 2 characters alone made this movie perfect. If you haven't seen this movie yet, I strongly recommend it. What a great movie. If I were to name my all-time personal favorite superhero since I was a child until now, Wolverine would be pretty fucking high up there. James Howlett, aka Wolverine, or more known now as Logan, has always been my favorite X-Men character. From the old cartoons I used to watch with my dad where he fought the Silver Samurai, that energy creature that attacked the Morlocks, and his never-ending rivalry with Sabretooth, to when he was finally on the big screen in the first X-Men movie. This character has never been stale or boring to me. When I saw him in the first X-Men movie and he was kicking ass like in the cartoons, I was so happy. I remember watching the movie and getting hyped whenever Wolverine would start fighting against Sabretooth or Mystique. And when the second movie came out and he went into berserk mode when Stryker's men broke into the Xavier Mansion, I was beyond happy. That was the most Wolverine thing I had seen until his later movies, but then when Logan came out, my expectations were met and then some. I went into the movie hyped as hell, and not even for a second was I worried it wasn't going to deliver. It's rated R, violence and gore aplenty, and I mean, it's fucking Wolverine. With the R rating, you bet your ass he's gonna come in there swearing and tearing shit up. I already reviewed the movie on this channel, but man, if I ain't done speaking about this movie's fucking amazing. Characters, actors, and actresses, and boring ass villain. First off, Hugh Jackman as the definitive live-action Wolverine is back for his last hurrah in this movie. And Jesus, he does not hold back with Logan. He's older, his healing factor is going to shit, and he's just tired and doesn't give a shit now that most of the mutants are gone and he's considered one of the last remaining X-Men alive. Hiding out as a limousine driver, he cares for a destructively ill Professor Xavier, who has seizures that, powered with his psychic abilities, killed 7 mutants 7 years ago, leaving Wolverine and another mutant, Caliban, played by the funny bastard Stephen Merchant, alive. Out in the northern part of Mexico in an abandoned smelting plant, he hides both Xavier and Caliban from the outside world, for the safety of others around Xavier and for fear of them being found by the outside world. Later on, a woman tries to hire Logan to take her and a little girl named Laura to Eden, a refuge in North Dakota. Logan accepts, but then later on finds the woman killed. He takes the girl to the hideout in Mexico, but is soon found by the group Transigen and their chief of security, Donald Pierce, a mutant-hating cyborg. They escape and find out that Laura has powers similar to Logan's. Caliban is left behind and tortured by the group into giving up the location of Laura, Logan, and the Professor, who hide out in various locations while heading out to Eden. They soon stop at a farmhouse after helping the owner, Will Munson, and his family after a traffic accident, accepting an invitation for dinner. After that, well, you're gonna have to see for yourself, man, because the events leading to the confrontation at the farmhouse and after is just goddamn. So yeah, the fight scenes are incredibly done. The actress who plays Laura, Daphne Keane, is great and shows off not only her acting skills, but her skills at pulling off some ridiculously awesome action scenes. When I first saw her flipping and ripping into dudes, I couldn't help but get into it. And that combo her and Logan do near the end of the movie is just so sick. Hugh Jackman is at his best playing Wolverine in this movie. From his cursing to his non-caring attitude after years of surviving on the run and in hiding, he plays Logan as a man broken and tired. After the X-Men's death and subsequent disappearance from the world at large, having to go from having friends to just lugging it with the Professor and Caliban, haunted by his memories and slowly losing his healing ability due to his age. It's just amazing to see. From being at one time this almost unkillable superhero to being somewhat humanized, acted by the actor who's played him for over 17 years, was just perfect. This one man has been in the same role for a character I've loved since I was a child, and he's been with me growing up into adulthood. Seeing Hugh Jackman as Wolverine has been something of a normalcy for me. Now that I'm older, I cannot see anyone but Hugh Jackman play Wolverine, and it's gonna be hard to see the character played by anyone else. Hell, even when I read the comics or see Wolverine on print, I imagine Hugh Jackman's voice on him, or his mannerisms. Sure, what Hugh Jackman was doing since the beginning with Wolverine is pretty much set in stone in the comics. His brash attitude, his anti-hero stance, his hatred of Cyclops like everyone else. Admit it, he's a bitch ass. Over time, we got to see Hugh Jackman take Wolverine as his own. And in this film, I see nothing but perfection in the role. Hugh Jackman is and will forever be the Wolverine. Just like Heath Ledger is now for everyone the new way the Joker should be played, apparently. Or how Kevin Conroy is the definitive Batman voice to me. To nobody being able to take the role of Superman away from Christopher Reeves, Hugh Jackman is the Wolverine. So thanks for watching. Sorry the last one was a bit long, but I just loved what they did in the movie. So what would you like reviewed next? Leave a comment in the comment section below. Have a great day, stay safe, and as always, peace.